Have you ever noticed how, like, the most dangerous place on Earth isn't a jungle or some war zone, but, well, it's the hallway of an American high school?
Oh, absolutely. It's a completely terrifying ecosystem.
Right. You step into that environment and suddenly all the normal rules of human empathy they just vanish.
Yeah.
We're dealing with a landscape where social survival requires um, just constant vigilance.
Yeah, and the hierarchy is enforced with absolute ruthlessness. It's really fascinating to study, though, because unlike a physical injury where a doctor can just point to a fractured bone on an X-ray,
Yeah.
psychological isolation in adolescence is totally invisible. You're looking at diagnostic muddy waters, really.
High waters, I like that.
Right, because the wounds are hidden, they're inside lockers and around corners, but they completely shape the trajectory of a person's life.
They really do. Well, welcome to today's deep dive. We are taking a look at an excerpted document today. It's titled The String Walker Series, Key Character Profiles.
It's a great read.
It is. And whether you're, analyzing literature, maybe building characters for your own stories, or just reflecting on your own life and how your early friendships formed, understanding the anatomy of these alliances is universally fascinating.
For sure.
So our mission today is to analyze 3 specific character introductions. We've got Wilhelmina, Billie Mitchell, Timothy Hiddleston, and Rick Kelly. And we're going to explore how the protagonist, Scarlett, is molded by the intense social dynamics they bring into her world.
To really grasp Scarlett's baseline, though, I think we have to look at the environment she walks out of every single morning.
Yeah, set the stage for us.
Right. So her home life is just a landscape of profound emotional isolation. She's got an older brother who is 19, meaning he's totally aged out of her daily adolescent reality.
He's on a different planet.
Exactly. And she has a sister, Bridget, who is 10 years younger. So essentially a toddler.
Wow, so no peers at home.
None. And on top of that, the text notes her mother struggles with mental problems and her father is physically imposing but entirely lacks emotional depth.
So she is operating with zero emotional safety net. I mean, if you fall at school, you usually rely on your family to catch you, right?
But Scarlett doesn't have that.
No, she's on an island, which makes the people she meets out in the world absolutely critical to her survival. And that brings us to her earliest experience with a true ally, or a disruptor, really, a girl named Billie.
The mall scene.
Yes, the mall incident.
Yeah.
We are introduced to their dynamic through this incredibly visceral scene. Scarlett is 12 years old, and she's wandered away from her struggling mom and her toddler sister just to feel a fleeting sense of being grown up.
Right.
And she accidentally trips another girl, Samantha Richards.
And the immediate consequence of that simple accident is shockingly violent. I mean, Samantha actually kicks Scarlett in the solar plexus with a designer boot while she's on the ground.
It's brutal.
It is. But the physical blow is almost secondary to the psychological one. Samantha and her gang surround Scarlett, mocking her, calling her a weirdo and a freak. And Scarlett isn't even crying from the physical pain.
No, she's crying from the shame, the crushing public shame of it all.
Mm.
Think about the last time you saw someone being publicly humiliated.
Yeah.
Your instinct is probably to, look away, right?
You can put your head down and keep walking.
Exactly. And that is exactly what the crowd at the mall does to Scarlett.
Yeah.
People just literally walk around the crying 12-year-old girl. And Scarlett actually internalizes that rejection.
She does.
She tells herself that nobody would stop for a freak.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't either.
Yeah.
She essentially believes she deserves to be ignored.
It's a textbook manifestation of the bystander effect. It functions as a social contagion, right? Because the crowd's apathy validates the bully's aggression. But then Billie intervenes.
The grand entrance.
Yes. She makes this grand entrance, white sneakers skidding onto the tile, hands on her hips, just staring defiantly at Samantha. And the brilliant part, she doesn't use physical force.
Right.
She uses pure narrative control.
It is so brilliant. She bluffs. She loudly threatens to scream for this oblivious mall cop standing nearby and casually mentions he might have a taser on his belt.
It's a genius move.
And Samantha tries to sneer, but she completely loses her footing. She just flips her ponytail, declares Scarlett isn't worth it, and walks away. I look at this like emotional judo.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
Right. Billie takes the opponent's momentum, Samantha's cruelty, and uses the environment, the mall cop, to totally flip the script.
She neutralizes that bystander effect by shifting the risk. By threatening to bring in an authority figure, she makes it too costly for the bullies to stick around. But her most crucial maneuver happens after Samantha leaves.
when she helps her up.
Exactly. She kneels down, helps Scarlett up, and normalizes the whole situation. She tells Scarlett those girls are the worst, and then asks her to hang out because she is tired of being alone.
Which gives Scarlett her dignity back.
Mm.
I mean, framing the invitation as Scarlett doing her a favor is so sophisticated. It makes me wonder, does Billie's quick thinking here indicate she has more experience dealing with hostile situations than Scarlett does?
Oh, that intuition is spot on. And we see the origin of that experience when we look back at how they actually met, because the mall incident, that wasn't their first meeting, that was just a reunion.
Oh, right.
The true foundation of their friendship was forged 5 years earlier when Scarlett was only 7.
Picture this, right? A 7-year-old who has just had enough of her reality. So Scarlett packs this tiny pink suitcase with her Dolly Pepper, some peanut butter crackers, and a diary.
The essentials.
The essentials, exactly. And she decides to run away from home. She makes it as far as Washington Avenue, and she bumps into 6-year-old Billie, who is just out there playing hopscotch.
And when Scarlett announces she's running away, Billie doesn't even blink.
No, she doesn't.
She just boldly grabs Scarlett's hand and decides she wants to run away too. They bond over this shared, totally innocent desire to escape. But reality catches up with them pretty quickly.
In the form of a police cruiser.
Right. And it's when they're sitting in the scary backseat of that cop car that Billie leans over and whispers a promise. She says they will be best friends no matter what.
That moment anchors them. But it also reveals the darker context of Billie's life, doesn't it?
It really does. Scarlett knows Billie is in foster care, but the text compares it to knowing London is the capital of England, or that cows have 4 stomachs.
It's just a background fact.
Exactly. It's trivia. Billie never talks about it because she desperately craves normalcy. But the tragic shadow of the foster care system is that systemic instability. Kids are routinely just stripped of their support networks.
Which explains why Billie just vanishes later on. No warning, no goodbye. She's just gone.
Kids are just vanished from each other's lives all the time in that system.
It's heartbreaking. So fast forward 5 years to the present day, and they unexpectedly cross paths at a Marine recruiter's line. Billie bounds over, practically radiating warmth. She's totally sincere, telling Scarlett she looks great.
Which throws Scarlett off.
Right. Scarlett is so conditioned to the toxic environment of high school that she's used to backhanded compliments. But Billie's warmth is totally genuine, and it makes Scarlett feel good. But the text mentions Scarlett feels guilty for taking a moment to even recognize her.
Yeah.
What do you think that is? Is it because trauma made Scarlett close herself off while Billie stayed open? Does she feel like she abandoned her?
I think it's exactly about the mechanics of trauma. Scarlett's primary defense mechanism is to shrink, to become invisible to avoid pain. Billie, on the other hand, despite the chaotic instability of foster care, she projects outward.
She builds connections.
Yes. Scarlett likely buried the memory of her greatest ally because remembering what safety felt like was simply too painful, especially when her current daily life is fundamentally unsafe.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And speaking of unsafe, if Billie shows us the ultimate supportive friend, Timothy Hiddleston represents the ultimate psychological tormentor.
Oh, Timothy.
Yeah, if Billie is safety, Timothy is the crushing daily reality of Scarlett's high school existence.
We're shifting from the memory of a fierce protector to an active, looming predator. Timothy understands exactly how to manipulate the ecosystem.
We see this perfectly illustrated in that brutal locker scene. Break down his profile for us.
So Timothy is an arrogant jock. He actually got kicked off the football team the previous year.
Over hazing and bullying allegations, naturally.
Exactly, which fits his profile perfectly. So Scarlett is just trying to quickly grab things from her locker, praying to remain invisible, when his locker slams shut right next to hers. He flashes this menacing grin. The text says he has too many teeth.
Creepy. And he just launches an attack. He calls her witchy witch, mocks her by asking if she's having fake visions of a pop quiz, and then he goes for the jugular, cruelly insulting her clothes and asking if she borrowed them from her mom.
Which is incredibly calculated.
Right, because there was a recent incident with her mother that the text leads to.
Timothy recognizes he's found a pressure point, and he just leans heavily into it. Scarlett tells him to get lost, and that's when he delivers his most devastating psychological blow.
The buddy comment.
Yes. He tells her not to call him Tim, because only his buddies call him that. And then he leans in and whispers, "You're nobody's buddy."
Oof. It's so mean. And it references a really painful auditorium exercise from the previous year, right? where absolutely no one would partner with Scarlett.
Exactly. He weaponizes her isolation. Bullies do this all the time. They take a specific trauma and throw it in your face.
Yeah.
And to punctuate that emotional isolation, he physically shoves her in the chest, knocking her back against the lockers.
It's like he's a shark smelling blood in the water.
Right.
He isn't just being mean in a vacuum, he's performing. He has an entourage watching. He needs to regain the status he lost when he got kicked off the team.
The physical shove is secondary to making sure she feels the full weight of her loneliness in front of an audience.
So Scarlett realizes she can't let him see her cry. Tears are basically currency for bullies.
So she abandons her notebook, slams her locker, and just sprints away down the hall while Timothy is doing this fake British accent to mock her.
So my question is, since she runs away to hide her tears to avoid feeling them, is running away actually a viable survival tactic here? Or does it just invite more bullying?
It's a real double-edged sword. Running away definitely denies the bully the immediate payoff of a public breakdown, which is good.
Right.
But it also solidifies the established power dynamic. It confirms to Timothy that he has the authority to literally displace her from the hallway. It leaves her hyperventilating around a corner, doing absolutely nothing to change the toxic ecosystem itself.
Right. She survives the moment, but the rules haven't changed. But then, right as she's having this meltdown around the corner trying to breathe, a new variable enters the high school ecosystem.
A total disruption.
Rick Kelly. He's an exchange student bussed in from the poorer Carroll County.
Yeah.
And he catches Scarlett mid-meltdown and just simply asks if she's all right.
Which mortifies her.
Completely mortifies her. She squeaks out an excuse and flees again. But that newcomer disrupts the established hierarchies, and we see that play out in the gym confrontation.
The gym scene is just a masterclass in dismantling unearned authority.
Yes. So Scarlett has to track Timothy down to exchange these peer review papers for a class. She finds him in the boys' gym, and Timothy happens to be standing with Rick.
And Timothy immediately tries to act like he doesn't know her.
Oh, he plays it so cool. He wants to impress the new guy.
Yeah.
But Rick just waves at her.
Yeah.
He tells Timothy they sort of met that morning and asks for an intro.
See, Timothy's power relies entirely on gatekeeping. He controls who matters and who is invisible. By openly acknowledging Scarlett, Rick instantly undermines Timothy's control over the narrative.
And Timothy tries to recover. He quotes Chris Tucker from the movie Rush Hour, doing the whole same time man routine. He's trying so hard to be cool.
It's a transparent grab for cultural cachet.
It really is. And Scarlett finally bites back. She tells Timothy not to hang yourself on that rope trying to fit in.
And Rick's reaction is what changes everything.
He laughs loudly, right?
Yes. He laughs out loud and tells Timothy, "Bro, Scar just fronted on you hard." By validating Scarlett's comeback with laughter, he forces Timothy to actually respect her.
Notice Timothy drops the witchy witch insult and instantly uses her name Scar.
Rick casually dismantles Timothy's power over her. He just changes the rules of the interaction.
It's amazing. But I have to ask, Rick uses his intellect and this unbothered confidence as a shield. Is he intentionally stepping in to draw fire away from kids like Scarlett, like a knight in shining armor? Or is he just fundamentally immune to bullies like Timothy?
I'd lean toward immunity. I wouldn't call it a savior narrative. Rick just doesn't speak the language of the high school hierarchy. By existing completely outside of Timothy's framework of power, his presence inherently protects those around him because he simply refuses to accept the premise that Timothy is in charge.
Wow. And that immunity is really put to the test in the classroom showdown.
Oh, advanced English with Mrs. Cannon.
Yeah, so we move from peer-to-peer bullying to an authority figure. Mrs. Cannon is notorious for pushing out students of color. The text notes she even made a dark-skinned black girl transfer last year.
It's institutional toxicity.
Exactly. And Rick, being dark-skinned with locks and one of only about 30 black students in the school, is immediately targeted. Mrs. Cannon basically ambushes him and asks for his expectations in her class.
She's using her authority to demand he justify his right to exist in an advanced English room.
But Rick doesn't flinch. He grins, rubs his hands together, and drops an Albert Einstein quote. "The world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking."
Such a powerful moment.
And then he boldly states he expects to change how the classroom thinks.
It is a flawless intellectual parry. He uses undeniable academic brilliance to neutralize her prejudice. By invoking Einstein, he traps her in her own framework of academic rigor.
So she can't even argue with him.
No, she actually nods and smiles, totally disarmed.
It's incredible. So when we look at all of this, the mall, the runaways, the locker, the classroom, what's the core takeaway for the listener here?
I think the String Walker series masterfully uses these character introductions to show how power dynamics really work. Bullies, whether it's Timothy or Mrs. Cannon, they rely on isolation and fear.
They need you to feel alone.
Exactly. But allies like Billie and Rick, they break that isolation by simply refusing to play by the established rules. They disrupt the ecosystem.
They really do. And this is just the beginning of Scarlett's story. The source material promises that next time we'll be introduced to 3 more characters: Diane, Adam, and Marianne.
I can't wait.
It's going to be great. But before we go, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. We've watched both Billie and Rick survive their respective challenges using bravado and bluffing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Billie bluffs about a taser. Rick uses a lofty Einstein quote to intellectually corner a prejudiced teacher. They both put on a performance. So the lingering question for you to ponder is, in a world built by bullies, is genuine vulnerability a liability?
That is the big question.
Will Scarlett eventually have to put on a mask of bravado herself if she ever wants to stop running away? Can you survive the hallway without armor? Something to think about. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.